Hey guys, my name's Pax. I like Digimon and I think you should go play Digimon Time Stranger. Okay, that's the end of the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. But hold on, you might be asking yourself now, why should you play Digimon Time Stranger? I mean, what makes it any different than the variety of other RPGs that are out there, or even what was released just this year? It didn't even win all the rewards like Expedition 33, so why bother? Because I said so, you damn filthy. Because I think Digimon Time Stranger offers a lot to the table that its competitors haven't really been able to capitalize on before. Digimon Time Stranger isn't just an RPG, it's also a creature capture game, like Pokemon.
It's Pikachu!
And by far, I think it's one of the best representations of what Digimon, a nearly 30-year-old franchise at this point, has to offer in the gaming industry. So if you're willing to stick with me, I want to spend some time on explaining my history of Digimon games and what Digimon means to me. With that being said, join me as I explain to you why you should play Digimon Story Time Stranger. Enjoy. Released on October 3rd of 2025, Digimon Story Time Stranger has garnered a lot of praise from people in the community. A variety of people love the game, including myself, which has been shared through reviews, artwork, and even memes that you may or may not have seen, right? Right? But for some of you, most of you, you probably don't really know a lot about Digimon games. Maybe you've seen one of the shows, watched the movies, read the manga or comics, or just bought merchandise like the Digimon card game. And for those of you that are familiar with it, or perhaps just managed to get a look at it, you've probably done so through Jaden Animation and her experience with Digimon World Dawn, my beloved. And unfortunately, yeah, that probably wasn't the best title to start off with. I mean, I love it. I spent tens of thousands of hours on it, but it's very much an early 2000s JRPG. And I'm sure most of you guys know what a 2000s early JRPG was like back in those days. Lots of grinding, things are not very well explained, and the maps are non-existent. So first, I want to spend some time on the previous Digimon games that have been made, and the natural progression the franchise has taken to reach the point today where Time Stranger is so highly praised and encouraged for people to get into. And to do that, we have to talk about the different types of Digimon games, because believe it or not, there has been quite a few of them. Now, despite what you might think, I'm more of a 2000s type of guy than I am a 90s guy.
Liar!
My first console was the PS2, my first handheld was the Game Boy Advance, and I really didn't get introduced into Digimon gaming until the DS era of games was released. but from everything I have seen and grown to understand of the franchise, Digimon can be broken down into 3 different categories of what we'll call the Holy Trinity: Digimon World Series, Digimon Story, and everything else. Wait a second, hold on, don't let me lose you here, because there is a lot more Digimon games out there than you might otherwise expect. And this categorization is mostly an after the fact than something that was really planned. We're talking about mobile games, arena fighting games, MMOs, RPGs, animal raising. We had a freaking racing game. A racing game. Why? So to simplify this and to save my own sanity, we're only going to be talking about 4 different games. Or 6 different games, technically. It doesn't matter. Before we touch on Time Stranger, the Lucky 7, as we'll call them. And we'll be starting off with the oldest of the 3 categories. Unfortunately for me, I never really got into the whole Digimon World series. The first Digimon World game was released all the way back in 1999 as an RPG pet raising game. Think of Nintendogs. You remember Nintendogs, right? Well, it's kind of like that, but you're traversing a 3-dimensional world, taking on quests, raising your own Digimon, and battling other Digimon with it. It's basically the boy version of Tamagotchi, which is what Digimon was to begin with when it first started off, but hey, focus,
Jingle.
don't lose me here. Now, the most recent iteration of this category of games is Digimon World Next Order, which was released back in 2016. And I personally really couldn't get into it when I tried it. You, the main protagonist, wake up in an unknown world with your choice of 2 partner Digimon that you will be tasked with raising and caring for as you explore and figure out a way to get back home and to save the digital world in the process. You'll embark on a lot of minor character quests, meet new people and Digimon, while trying to build up a base of operations for yourself and other Digimon as you progress through the game. The thing about Digimon World is it's a bit more niche, and there are people better than me that could really go into the game and how it works than I possibly could. What you really need to know is this is what most old school fans are used to when we talk about Digimon games. I'll probably revisit this title and others like it in the future, but it's not part of our conversation we are having today like the next category we'll be discussing. For the other types of Digimon games out there, we don't really need to discuss too much of what all there is, since this spans across multiple different genres that Digimon has dabbled into. Games ranging from the series Battle Spirits to Rumble Arena, and the racing game that I mentioned. There's quite a few that we could discuss that I just don't really have the time for. At least not without devoting an entire video to them. But one example I do want to touch upon that I believe shows how Digimon has varied itself a bit game-wise is Digimon Survive that was released back in July of 2022. Digimon Survive is a visual novel, and a good one mind you, but one that is definitely falling into those type of niche categories that not everyone is going to find enjoyment in. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the story simply because that's the main focus of the game, but you and a cast of schoolmates are suddenly transported into a mysterious world trapped with a variety of different monsters, in this case being Digimon of course, trying to hunt you down and kill you. Only your partner Digimon, creatures that are strangely attuned to your emotions, are able to help you as you try to survive and find a way back home without losing you or your classmates' lives. Add in some tactical RPG mechanics akin to Fire Emblem, player choice, and multiple endings, and you get yourself a relatively strong visual novel, and one that I would certainly grab on sale should you find the opportunity to do so. It's by no means mainstream and was certainly made on a budget, but if you like this type of media, I would say you'll enjoy it and maybe even have it pull at your heartstrings with some of the outcomes you could find yourself in. But as you're probably noticing with these 2 examples, Digimon really leads itself into being an RPG series rather than any other genre that it could possibly find itself in, besides maybe fighting games, with this emphasis on stories, and that's something that was already reflected in the anime. And that's why I think this next category is really where Digimon begins to shine as a gaming franchise. I'm going to lose you with this one, so stick with me here. What we have come to know as the Digimon Story series actually began with a Digimon World game called Digimon World DS that was released back in November of 2006. Digimon Dawn and Dusk was a direct sequel that came out in September of 2007, chasing the trend of different version games that Pokemon does. But for our purposes, we're going to focus on Dawn and Dusk as it was a direct expansion on what Digimon DS did. Refined the mechanics of battles and how the Digifarm worked, and a bunch of other minor things that I'm probably not immediately thinking of. What you need to know is these games is where Digimon started to really look into a more narrative approach to the gaming franchise, and what eventually led to Digimon Story being separated as its own category within it. So long as we're ignoring Digimon World 3, but I never played that game, so...
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
My overview of Digimon World Dawn and Dusk is going to be kept short, simply because if you want an average person's perspective of the game, you're best off watching Jaden Animation's video of her playthrough. Also, Jaden, if you're somehow watching this video, yes, you should play Digimon Time Stranger. Please, I'm begging you, you'll love it. I'll even buy you the game, please. But to give you a general overview of Digimon World Dawn and Dusk, to put it at its most basic of levels, is a mix of your typical Pokemon creature collection and JRPG game. You embark on a story quest to stop a mysterious virus from causing chaos within the digital world, and spend your time obtaining new Digimon, strengthening your party, assisting other Digimon with their quests, and exploring the greater digital world. Sporting a variety of colorful character sprites with a massive roster of nearly 400 unique Digimon to obtain, and what I think is the pinnacle of the Digifarm with the ability to not just train Digimon, but also breed Digi-Eggs, it does little to offset the main problem that people like Jaden Animation had, which is that the game can be quite grindy. While it never personally negatively affected me, with no way to prevent random encounters, a maze-like map that you can easily get lost in, and mechanics that are not always explained, it can be quite off-putting for most that try out this game. It most certainly doesn't help that, despite the overall length of the game and the sheer amount of content and quests, the game has a rather lackluster story that you will in no way remember once you've played it. I'm pretty sure most people who played the game won't be able to recall the names of side character tamers that helped you in your quest, unless you played Dusk, in which case all you can remember is Chief Julia and this scene.
It should have been me, not him!
There are other Digimon Story games that came out after this that improved the formula, but none of them that I directly played or really made it to the West to my knowledge. Where we really do see the next iteration of the Digimon Story franchise and see the next direct influence that it has on Time Stranger's development is our next pair of games, that which being... Now, I think it's important we take some time to really look into what Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory did for the franchise, because this is where most newer and older fans probably began in actually experiencing Digimon games and getting into the franchise in a more current year setting. Originally released in 2016 in North America and Hacker's Memory in 2018, we follow the story of two respective characters, Takumi Amiaba in Cyber Sleuth and Kazuki Amasawa in Hacker's Memory, in the virtual space called Eden, where Digimon are tools for hackers, where everyday life has become more dependent on virtual interactions. In Cyber Sleuth, the player character Aba runs into a mysterious creature called an Eater, where upon its attempts to, eat Aba, leads to their physical and digital avatars somehow becoming intertwined, allowing them to travel between Eden and the real world seamlessly. Meanwhile, in Hacker's Memory, Kazuki was a victim of a hacker who stole his Eden identity, who then in turn became a hacker himself to try and recover his identity while becoming ostracized in the process. As the gears of fate begin to turn, both protagonists meet a variety of different people and characters, making friends, taking up odd jobs to help those around them, and building bonds as that of the real world and the digital world slowly become more and more intertwined, and the Eater menace begins to wreak havoc on the world. It's here that we see one of Digimon's strong suits on full display, with a deep and interactive story and a sense of stakes that make the actions of the characters have ever-growing weight as forces begin to push them in directions beyond their control. The combat follows your atypical JRPG turn-based combat, where your Digimon take turns battling opponents or random encounters to both gain XP to level up, learn new skills, obtain equipment items to modify the stats or resistances of your Digimon, or progress the story as it moves along. Alongside this, you have the unique system of Digivolving and the Tamer Home to help spice up your adventure throughout the game. Unlike Pokemon, every Digimon can potentially Digivolve into any other Digimon should you manage to progress throughout the evolution tree. No one Digimon is coupled to a specific line, and while some Digimon are more specifically designed to Digivolve into one line over another, you are given a variety of options which you can Digivolve into, and eventually loop into a line that you might have otherwise never realized that you could have Digivolved from. This unique mechanic is supported by the Digifarm, a space where you can set Digimon you may not otherwise carry in your party to train in specific stats or freely level up while you're out exploring the world. Each Digimon has their own personality trait that helps to increase the stats of a specific category in the farm as you train through specific firearm items to increase their overall stat limit. And so long as you have your Digimon in one of 4 digital islands, they will continuously earn XP as time progresses, ensuring that you always have options in for your party members to switch from should you grow tired of your current party or need to switch into something else for a specific quest. From here, though, we start to see some of the main weaknesses of the game as we delve into the main game loop of the pair, and the persistent grinding and monster battling that you, more often than not, have to do with a much weaker combat system than you might otherwise wish for. Like most turn-based games, both Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory have an elemental system on top of a more stable attribute system of virus, vaccine, data, and free traits that Digimon is more well known for. Virus is strong against data, data is strong against vaccine, vaccine is strong against virus, with free being neither strong nor weak to any of them, becoming a nice neutral type. The issue arises with the other elemental system you use, which is your typical fire, water, plant elements being broken up in its own attribute triangle, with electric, earth, and wind being a completely separate triangle with no relation to the other 3. And then you have light and dark both strong and weak against each other, and neutral being neutral. Seriously though, why am I having to worry about Digimon attributes on top of elemental resistances? They don't even all interact. You've broken them up into different triangles. What is this? Magnifying this issue, each Digimon has their own unique special moves that is exclusive to that Digimon on top of the typical generic moves that you can use to attack others. Because of this, some moves are better than others in terms of being able to ignore specific stats like defense or magic protection, or having greater utility than others that can really restrict your options at either higher difficulty scaling or specific encounters throughout the story. The equipment that I mentioned before, while offering specific stat boosts and resistances to your party members, rarely feel like they make an actual impact to the combat experience of the game, outside of a few specific equipment items used to grind out XP or Zen, the game's currency, and maximize the amounts that you can earn. Couple this with some issues in the story where you can find yourself spending more time than you would like in specific battles during side missions without truly progressing the main plot, and you can find yourself feeling like you're wasting more time than you're actually putting into it. Despite this, many fans of Digimon adore Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, as with the somewhat new re-release of the games in the Complete Edition, it has helped minimize the amount of grinding and battling you have to do, with ways to disable random encounters alongside the original design of the game. The sheer variety of Digimon available to you with its 300 plus roster and memorable story and characters leave a special heart for members of the community, even as the game approaches 10 years of age. Memories that many people have come to cherish, and what eventually leads us to our next steps in the franchise, and where we finally return to the game that you came here to learn more about. You are Agent Dan Kanayuki, a member of a secret organization called Adamus, specialized in investigating and solving anomalous phenomena that threaten the world and seek to prevent tragedies from occurring before they even begin. After a mysterious attack 8 years ago that led to the destruction of Shinjuku City and its containment by the government, a sudden spike of activity within the containment zone has led Adamus in tasking you to investigate the area and meet up with a contact to discover the cause and neutralize it. As you meet up with your contact, a girl named Inori Misono, the two of you manage to find your way to the top of the ruins of the Shinjuku government building, where a battle between Digimon rages. After a brief encounter with one such Digimon, the fighting is interrupted by a man-made weapon, only for a portal to open and a sudden attack strikes the machine that leads to a massive explosion that begins to engulf the city and sucks you in. When you come to, you discover yourself in a room with a trio of Digimon protecting a mysterious egg down below. As you talk with them to figure out what had happened, a shadow-like figure appears, making its way to the egg and causing a panic from the other Digimon. After giving chase and sensing the danger of the situation, you leap at the shadowy figure, pushing him away, only for the egg to be knocked over, shattering the ground and making you fall down with your vision going white. When you next wake up again, it is 8 years in the past before the events of Shinjuku's destruction and the sudden apocalypse that now consumes the future. Upon reconnecting with your contact Inori, who no longer remembers you, and discovering a mysterious Digimon called Agiomon, it is now up to the three of you to prevent the Shinjuku Inferno from ever happening while trying to get Agiomon back to the digital world and discover the nature of the mysterious powers that he holds. While I do not feel myself to be the most qualified person to talk about Time Stranger on a critical level, as at the end of the day my experience with the game was on a more personal one in regards to my feelings with it, Time Stranger has made quite a variety of improvements that overall enhances the game and makes it a much more streamlined experience that brings it to the modern era and a much more enjoyable experience for the casual player to dig their teeth into. The biggest issue with Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, its combat, has been improved in nearly every way. Gone is the narrow elemental systems. Instead, each Digimon has their own unique strength and weaknesses against the 11 elemental types that the game provides. And while the traditional virus, data, and vaccine triangle still exists, with a few new types not previously seen like Unknown and Variable, there is still a degree of flexibility involved in conducting combat, despite the disadvantage you might be putting yourself into. Take Mastamon for example, the best Yuri, one of the stronger Digimon you can obtain. She has the unique skills Chaos Degradation, Holy Desire, and Dark Despair. Chaos Degradation gets an added bonus to Holy Trait Digimon, Holy Desire gets an added bonus to Evil Trait Digimon, and Dark Despair gets an added bonus to Holy Trait Digimon on top of their attribute weaknesses. So in this example, you can have Mastamon not only have its natural type advantage with a Digimon like Lilithmon, being weak to Mastamon's vaccine attribute, but you can also get additional damage with Holy Desire against Lilithmon, not only being weak to light damage, but also having the Evil King type to really bring out the pain and give you that true Yuri fighting combat you all crave. Equipment is another thing that has been improved, or at the very least became all that much more transparent in comparison to Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. While you have your typical equipment items like HP, attack, defense, or other stat enhancing effects, resistance equipment will become a lot more important to you as you progress the game, alongside a few other status effect canceling items. Taking a look at Mastamon again, she's naturally resistant to light and dark attacks, while weak to steel and null. Using one of the resistance items like Light Guard, you can make her completely immune to light elemental attacks, or drastically decrease her weakness to steel with Steel Guard, for example. This can end up completely changing the game for you and how you can further enhance your favorite Digimon and otherwise close matchups, making it all the more easier to prepare for battles you might not otherwise have the best type advantage against. Personality types get an honorable mention as well. While there is a slight incentive to mix and match personalities with Digimon thanks to some unique bonuses that can make your Digimon always go first, or earn HP on attacks or a few other things, each Digimon has a personality preference that, should the Digivolutions share, will make it much easier to Digivolve into without meeting the specific stat requirements other personality types might have to face. This also connects with the character skill tree where now, as you progress the story and increase your agent rank, certain personalities will grow stronger and stronger the more skills you unlock to make Digivolving and grinding stats all that much easier. As you can already start getting the sense of, there is a ton of improvements made mechanics-wise that just overall elevate the combat to a much more enjoyable experience than anything that has come before it. I haven't even talked about some of the other mechanics like using DNA Digivolving attacks if you have the corresponding Digimon in your party, the Digiburst mechanic to make grinding easier, the auto-battling function, the bond system to get extra bonuses with your Digimon, or how you can feed Digimon you might not otherwise use to your main party to get more levels and increase their stats, becoming a cannibalizing god of destruction that no one can hope to destroy. All of these mechanics are things that are probably better off being explained in a far more in-depth video about Time Stranger, or just quite frankly experiencing for yourself. But there are a few other things I do want to touch upon before getting into what I think matters most. The Digifarm makes its return, and instead of limiting XP gaining to those on the farm itself, every Digimon in your box or farm earn XP as you battle and progress the game, while the farm is more specialized in training specific stats, personalities, or increasing bond, though with the one big caveat that you can't Digivolve in the farm. Unless they fix it by the time this video released. Please God tell me they fixed it. Side quests also make their return and are a lot more story-centric, with quest lines tying themselves to the main story, or being a lot more unique and memorable than the previous entries provided. though Time Stranger still seems to suffer from pacing on when you can do those same side quests, and ending up bombarding you with too many of them by the end game. And then there is, of course, the models that have experienced quite a massive upgrade in that unique shading and style. And then the animations too. God, the animations. I mean, just... But despite all the improvements and the things that have been done that make engaging with the game all that much more enjoyable for the average player, the thing that I come back to that I believe makes Time Stranger such a great game is its story and the foundation that all of Digimon shares, be it from the anime, other games, manga, or even movies. In a world where chaos consumes our every moment, the disagreements and distrust we might have with one another, with threats of our own making or of forces beyond our own control, we can find friendship with each other. That not one person is without their own hardships, their own sorrows, or even their own faults. That through it all, we are able to form bonds that not even the tragedies of our own world could possibly break its hold. And in a completely different world filled with digital beings that are so different and yet so similar to us, we find those same hardships, those same faults and problems that can divide them as much as ourselves. And yet despite that, we're still able to form a connection, bonds that surpass even the limits of each other's worlds. For in Digimon Time Stranger, we witness those very same things happen with our main characters in the game. Inori, a girl mourning the loss of her brother and mother. Agiomon, the hero grappling with the weight of his destiny and how it affects the relationships of those around him. And the player character, a Time Stranger, on a mission to save the world, and in the wake of forces that push them beyond their own means and whose actions will not just affect each other, but the fate of both worlds, find within each other and those around them friendships and bonds that brings humans and Digimon alike to save each other's world. And if that's a story that you find interesting and wish to experience, Digimon Story Time Stranger is the game for you. Or just wish to collect cool and sexy looking monsters in battle. No matter the reason, I think Time Stranger is worth a shot. Be it just to try the free demo, buy it on sale, or for full price, I don't think it's a decision that you would regret. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. This is not something that I normally do, but after playing through the entirety of the game, I wanted to share my thoughts and experience on it. Most of my content is live streaming or opening up Digimon trading card packs. Go figure, it's in my name. I might find some other topics or ideas that I'll end up wanting to share in this longer form content. And if you like what you see here, consider liking or subscribing. Every little bit helps. Okay, bye now.